And what to know about pot and your pets.
And now back to Brandis Friedman with answers to questions about your pets and pot consumption. Brandis.
Paris, marijuana may get humans high, but for pets, it can be a real downer. In fact, pot can not only be dangerous, but potentially lethal for some animals. And now that recreational pot is legal and the use of edible products is on the rise, the risk to pets is even greater. Joining us now to tell us more is Dr. David Gonsky, founder and chief veterinarian at West Loop Veterinary Care. Welcome to Chicago tonight.
Thank you, Brandis.
So how much of a risk is marijuana to pets?
It's a real risk. Basically, marijuana in all forms is toxic to pets, and like you said, there are fatalities. But now that we're seeing it legal and more people are having it in their homes, the real problem for pets is getting involved in the edibles. There's gummies, there's chocolates, and dogs particularly love getting into that stuff.
Is it more dangerous to some animals than others? Excuse me.
It's equal. I will call it equal dangerous. Weight can play an issue because depending upon how much they get into. But the other issue with some of the edibles is they can have additional toxicities such as chocolate or raisins or xylitol, which is an artificial sweetener. Those are also toxic, so we can see double toxicities, if you will.
Is the danger mostly if they should ingest it, for example, through some of those edibles that you just mentioned, or can the smoke from smoking marijuana, the secondhand smoke, be harmful?
Secondhand smoke can also be harmful to pets. It's not as much so because it's not as concentrated as the edibles.
So what might the symptoms of marijuana toxicity be to a pet? What would someone look for?
Great. Dose dependent, but what you're going to look for is in about 30 minutes or so after your pet ingests it, and I should interrupt myself and say, if you know your pet got into some, call your veterinarian or the veterinary emergency clinic so they can help. Now, other than that, you're going to see dilated pupils, drooling. As signs progress, they're going to be dribbling urine, wobbliness, loss of balance, some vomiting could occur, and what we really see as a problem towards later stages is when they're having trouble regulating their own temperature.
What should someone do if they notice these or maybe they know that their animal got into the weed?
Yep. Always call your vet. The first and best call is always to your veterinarian or the veterinary emergency clinic if their office is closed. You want to tell them how much your pet got into and also how much your pet weighs so we can help you navigate things. And I'll put a little plug in here, like if your pet possibly got into something else other than marijuana, we as veterinarians don't care. We just want to help your pet. So tell us, don't hold back, because it could be the difference between life and death. Let them know how much, how big the pet is. Don't try to treat it home, and don't induce vomiting later stages, because that might be another problem.
Okay, and when you say got into something else, you're referring to other potential
other illegal drugs.
Substances. That's not your concern.
That's not our concern, and I think that's important.
Are you seeing an increase in marijuana poisoning in pets since legalization?
Yeah, we have not a huge bump. Ironically, we started to see a bump towards the end of the year, and it's continued. So I think people are getting ready for legalization of marijuana, but the Animal Poison Control Center and some of the human ERs have seen major upticks in calls since the beginning of the year.
So how would a veterinarian's office like yours treat a pet who has ingested or inhaled a lot of secondhand smoke?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So client's going to call us. They're going to tell us what's going on. Let's say the dog is already having clinical signs. Come in. If it's early enough, we may give what's called activated charcoal to help bind up the marijuana before it absorbs into the bloodstream. If it's too late for that, IV fluids, supportive patient warming, and potentially anti-nausea drugs, just to support the dog through until this clears the system and make sure that their temperature is regulated, etc.
How long could that take? How long before the symptoms wear off?
Sometimes it's a long time. We've had some cases that we can send home same day. There have been some that have been 24 hours or more before it clears the system.
And what about CBD products for pets? Those are also increasingly common.
Really common. I'm glad you asked that, because we get questions about CBD all the time. And I think what's important, and what I tell my clients about CBD, is when you look at the labeling or even the websites for any CBD product, whether you buy it at a health food store or a gas station, which should tell you about the difference in the products, none of them, all of them have the same warning that they do not diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. So that's on the labeling for any human or veterinary product. That being said, anecdotally, a lot of my clients are saying it's helping for things like arthritis or appetite. There are limited studies right now. In the future, there will be more. I think that's when we're going to really know the true benefit of using CBD medically.
Okay, Dr. David Gonsky, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.